Today's slanted lens lesson is the second part in our two-part series looking at shooting with DSLR cameras. In part 2, we're going to talk about setting up our camera. First, we're going to shoot our camera in manual so we have complete control. Then the most critical decision we make is how many frames per second we shoot. 24 frames a second is really a film standard. 30 frames a second is TV standard. For most people, you see things in 24, you think film. We're used to seeing 24 frames a second. That is comfortable to us. So for my use, I shoot at 24 frames a second always. When you make that decision that you're going to shoot at 24 frames a second, you now use twice that as your shutter speed. So we'll shoot at a 50th of a second as our shutter speed. If we are going to ramp up to shoot at another, like 30 frames a second, then we're going to shoot at a 60th of a second for our shutter speed. And then just forget about it. At that point, you control the exposure with the aperture, and you don't ever change the shutter speed or the frame rate again. You don't want to change different shutter speeds because it's jarring to the individual when you see that on screen. You want to stay with a 50th of a second and 24 frames a second, and that'll give you a nice look to the entire piece. Let's talk about our picture style and how we're going to shoot this. You know, if I'm figuring that in the post process I don't have someone to color correct and to really work with the footage, and I'm just going to go directly to editing, then I'll probably shoot this in a landscape mode. The reason is that I just like the look with people in landscape. I've heard several other people say this, that there's just a great look in that. So that's the picture style I use if I'm shooting people with video and I'm not going to color correct. Now if I know I'm going to color correct afterwards, then I use a user default that I've set up in the following manner. I've got my sharpness at 1, I've got my contrast at -4, I've got my saturation at -2, and then the color tone at 0. That gives you a very calm, bland look. It's not very contrasty, doesn't have really high-pitched color in it, but it just gives you good information that you can take in and color correct later. I think that's a great place to start. Let's talk about audio. Audio is very important in this process. It would be like watching a movie with the sound off, or no sound effects, or not good dialogue. It's just too hard to watch. It's the same with our videos. You have to have good sound. It's got to really be full, and it's got to be taken care of. The problem with the mic that's on the camera is, one, it's in the wrong place. It's right at the camera. It's right by your hands. Your fingers are on it. You get handling noise on it. It's not very directional, so you just get a lot of everything that's going on around you. It doesn't have a jack in order to plug in a headphone so you can listen intently to what's going on. It really lacks everything that's necessary for it to be a good sound device. First off, we've got to replace it with a good recording device, and secondly, a microphone to pick up the audio. What we use to capture all of our audio is this little device here. It's a zoom recorder. It captures all the audio as you input it through different microphone sources. This is a lapel mic that we use for most of everything that we do. It has a receiver here, a transmitter that's in my back pocket, and you see the microphone that's up on my lapel. But I found this setup is probably the easiest for most of the things that we do. You can really get the audio, the mic where you want it to be, and you can get really good audio tracks with it. Now if you want to do other kinds of audios, like you got several people talking, you can't put one of these on each person, then a boom is probably a good idea because you can move that around with an operator, but it takes another person to run it. Whereas this setup is pretty simple, a one-man band kind of a thing. You can hook it on your hip, hit record, and you can record the audio. We're going to use a UDMA card, 60 megabyte transfer speed per second. If you can get 60 to a 90 megabyte speed transfer per second. 400X cards up to 600X cards, those are the cards that are fast enough for these cameras to be able to not drop frames to really give you the speed and the quality that you need. 1 gigabyte of card space gives you 3 minutes of recording time. That means on a 16 gig card you get up to 48 minutes of recorded time depending on your settings. The reality is you can't just turn the camera on and let it record for 48 minutes. FAT32 has a file size limit of 4 gigs. So every 12 minutes you got to turn the camera off or it'll turn itself off and you start a new clip. That's the only restriction with regards to time on these. I really love doing time lapse with both the 7D and the 5D. I use the Canon TC80N3 remote controller. It's really nice. You don't have to have the camera tethered to a computer. You can just plug this in and this gives it the information it needs. You can set it to shoot every minute, every second, just whatever time you want to do. I shoot all of our time-lapse in JPEG format only. I don't do the RAW, just to save on card space and images that I'm not going to use later. There are people out there, though, that are doing amazing time-lapse work, and they shoot in RAW and then convert all the images to have complete control on the look. Whatever you're shooting, whether it's a commercial project or a wedding, you can do a nice little piece of time-lapse. Kind of gives a high production value to your project. I hear all the time from people that this camera changed the industry, but the reality was the industry wanted to be changed. We were at a time when the still market was shrinking, but the video market started to grow because people on the internet wanted to see things. They wanted to be taught by a person. They wanted to have that video experience. We had seen stills and write-ups, but we were moving to a new age, a new time when people wanted to see video. Photographers who will grasp this knowledge at this point will really have an opportunity to grow their business and to see great opportunities. It really is the future. Learning a few things beyond what you already know about lighting, about moving the camera, about editing, about sound. Understanding just some of those basic things, you can do both video and stills in your business. My clients ask me all the time, can I shoot video and stills? I can. I charge them accordingly. It becomes a new revenue stream for you in your business. So learn those things, apply them in your business, and you'll find that this will be a very lucrative opportunity for you. It is the future. So get out there and make your vision move.